This is what we're going to do. It's called lightning talks because it's supposed to be lightning fast, kind of. So everybody gets 5 minutes. I have this timer here, which I'm going to show to you. And when the time runs out, you all are going to stomp, clap, shout so loud that the guy has to stop talking, right? Okay, understood? So let's try it out now. Make some noise.
Wait. I insist you boo me off the stage. Let's try that.
Yeah, but if you, but keep in mind, if you throw stuff, throw at him, not at me, okay? Go away. Okay, so everybody of you guys introduce yourself, 2 words, and then we're going to start. Maybe you might want to say what your talk is about.
I am Norbert, and my talk is about words.
Okay. Rock and roll.
Okay, I have a confession to make. I am a Ruby programmer by day, and I write Clojure at night. And participating in both these communities at once, basically, I noticed that there's certain things. For example, this talk is about words I see in the Clojure community that don't show up in the Ruby community, and I think it's time to change that. Everyone talks about how happy they are writing Ruby code. Happy actually comes from the word hap, which means lucky. Joy actually comes from a Latin word which means to delight and take pleasure in. When I write Ruby code, I am most definitely happy, and when I read it, I am most definitely happy. But I've learned that Clojure code gives me joy. Happiness has this tendency to be very, very high, and then you lose it very quickly. Joy, much smaller peak, much longer duration. It's a much more sustainable kind of pleasure. Clojure community is very vocal about simple versus easy. Simple by definition means not complex. Easy, on the other hand, means something that's nearby, that's familiar. Oftentimes, when we're talking about that something's easy to understand, it's because it's similar to something we already understand, so it's really easy to make that connection. But it in no way implies that the actual thing is simple. So next time you're talking about a library or a language or whatever, start thinking about the fact, is it simple or is it easy? Because the only thing to make sense for long-term stability is to build simple systems, not easy systems. Complex is one of my new favorite words. To complex literally means to braid together. Compose means to put next to each other. So compose is to put next to each other, complex is to braid together. We talk a lot about the refactoring. How am I doing in time? Is that up or down? Oh, that's down. I got 3 minutes. Sweet.
That's cheating.
That's
You aren't
cheating?
supposed to look at the timer.
Too late, I looked. All right, so complexing is, take a step back. In Ruby, we talk a lot about refactoring, and we talk about refactoring in the sense that we take things and pull them into separate modules or into different classes, or there's an inheritance tree, or if we're really crazy, we talk about service objects, or if you're really hipster, you talk about moving things to separate microservices. The problem is that in all of these cases, you actually have not done anything. All you've done is move the code around. If you don't actually decomplex the system, which means that those things don't know about each other and still can work, then you haven't actually done anything. You've just moved stuff around. So I want you to start thinking about the complexing in your system and how you can decomplex it. Because the only way to build better system is to think about composability. And what you notice is when you start simplifying your system, when you start simplifying your system by building separate composable parts, you'll notice that there's actually more things. So don't let this trick you. There will be more things in your system, but each of them will be a lot simpler, and they will be able to compose in ways you haven't realized that's possible up to this point. And I can't believe I have to talk about this, but I really do. We as software developers are infatuated with building tools and reinventing the wheel to make our lives just a little bit easier. Well, folks, we are not in the business of making ourselves happy. It's true. We're in the business of making our customers happy. And we spend way too much time talking about constructs, programming languages, libraries, build tools, techniques for refactoring. These are all constructs. They in no way imply that the artifact, the running system, is better. So yes, constructs are great, and we should definitely talk about them, but let's not forget about artifacts. Let's think about our actual systems that we run. And let's talk, and let's use those words, and I didn't mention one thing. Simple has this tendency that it's actually objective, and easy is subjective. Because if if a system is simple, then it's just simple. It's an objective statement. But if it's easy, then it depends on what you're familiar with up to this point. So that's what I want you to think about in the future. Think about the artifacts. Think about the running systems. Think about how whatever technology choices you make affect the actual complexity of the final system. I'm going to be here all week, and if you want to, you can punch me in the face later over the beer. Time.
Thank you. I have an announcement. Everybody that gave a lightning talk yesterday, that will give a lightning talk today or tomorrow, you can win an ebook from Prague Programmer. So please tweet the title of your lightning talk to wroclaw.rb and you might win a book.
Test. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
5 minutes, you know.
Okay, so I need to be very quick. So this is talk about Crystal programming language. So what actually is Crystal programming language? It has Ruby-inspired syntax. It's as efficient as Ruby in writing code and as efficient as C in executing code. So it's compiled to the native code by using LLVM, and you in Crystal you can, but you don't have specified types for your, for example, variables or method arguments. And the code is evaluated during compile time, so you get some errors during compilation, not in the runtime. So installation is quite simple. Depending on your operating system, you just run a particular command, and you get nice tool, nice binary to execute some other commands. The way to execute these Crystal programs maybe like execute on the fly, which means you just point to some Crystal program and execute it on the fly, which means build, compile, and run without creating any additional artifacts. And the second way is you can separate this process into steps. Like in the first one, you just build your program, create a binary, and next you run this binary. Okay, so the current status is that Crystal is in really pre-alpha stage. It's stable, but it requires still a lot of improvements. The compiler for Crystal is written in Crystal itself. And it includes conservative garbage collector, which is going to be replaced in the future. So Crystal versus Ruby. What about switching them, transcription? So actually porting code from Ruby to Crystal is very easy. It's quite different the opposite way, but from Ruby to Crystal, the code remains the same. The ported code also behave exactly the same, and it may reveal some bug during compilation, which you won't have in Ruby because you reveal them only in runtime. So what about limitations? So the first limitation is that incremental compilation is not possible. So it's not possible to cache some results of compilation because you need to figure out the type of everything, so you need to recompile everything from scratch each time. It's hard to do a REPL because of those type of notation. You have to inspect them every time, so right now it's not possible to do REPL. And Crystal is not a dynamic language. The type of variable is assigned after compilation, so it's the main difference between Crystal and Ruby. Resources, so before I show you some code, here are some resources which describe the more deeper Crystal and documentation and so on. Okay, so let's jump to the code. Okay, so I will show you the simplest example. So this is very naive Fibonacci implementation, which calculates the number of Fibonacci of 36. And I will do it in Ruby. I will measure time in Ruby. So it takes about 2 seconds to do that. Let's try it in Crystal. Okay, so it's quite faster, but maybe let's build it. Okay, so you see the main difference. It's quite simple. It's quite faster, and this is the main benefit between Crystal and Ruby. What about the other examples I can show you? So we have something like attribute assignment in a constructor that
Thank you very much. Does it work?
Yeah, actually it works.
Wow. Okay. Take the mic.
Okay.
Remember to speak into the mic.
Yeah, it's easier right
Ready?
now. Ready.
Go.
Okay. Hello, guys. I'm Maciek, and nobody cares about that slide, as somebody mentioned yesterday. So let's go further. I'd like to talk about pagination in the API. In the special case in the API, when we synchronize data for offline use, we have this problem in our production application. We used a very simple approach, like the client, in this case Android, sends us a timestamp, and we send everything that's newer. And it used to work because our client made a promise that there won't be a lot of data, but as the client does, he broke it. So we had a lot of data, like 10 megabytes. That seems like a big JPEG image, but Android actually had problems with that because of limitations of its garbage collectors. So we had timers on Heroku, memory issues on the Android client. So we decided we need pagination. So what about pagination? It's not a big deal. Use Kaminari. Let's talk about the simple case. We just use regular pagination with constant page size and with some T0 beginning. It's a first page. But then, and that could be the second page, but then unfortunately someone deletes 2 items, so the server thinks that was the first page, so that will be the second page, and those 2 items are not sent to the client, so we lost those 2 items. So we had to dump this solution. Then maybe we could use 2 timestamp just to remember when we stop and then continue pagination, and it will be first page with 5 items. But with the same time frame, we will have a much bigger page in the second attempt. And that was definitely something that we needed to avoid because the items got published, got created in one specific day of the week, so the constant time frame might be a problem on Mondays because it will definitely kill the Android client. So what we did was timestamp with page size. The client sent us first timestamp and the page size that we should use. So even though some of the elements are deleted, we remember we sent back to the client second timestamp, and it's used in the second to fetch the second page. And regarding the another problem I described, the congestion, because we use page size of 5, or we can shrink the window and always send a constant amount of data. and just sending back another timestamp that's used to fetch a page by Android. And this solution allows us to synchronize all the data, and we know that the client has consistent data, has consistent state until timestamp we send back to them. Thank you, guys.
Ready? Is your talk about PHP?
Hi everybody, I'm Oskar Schreier from Ragnarsson. I will talk you today about the ROM, Ruby Object Mapper. It's game created by, maybe not game, it's ecosystem created by Piotr Solnica. He's not today with us, but maybe probably most of you know him. He has a lot of nice games. Then if you don't know him, do not check him, then please check. He's a very nice guy. Did anyone use ROM or try ROM? Oh, okay, not so bad. Come on. Okay, well, maybe I will skip the most annoying parts, like what is ROM. You can check it on the web page. There is a repo with the Ruby Object Mapper project and the site when you can read everything you need to know about it. And the most important part you should know, the ROM is not the ORM. Yeah? It's not the next ORM, and it's not implement the full data mapper pattern, it's only the mapper pattern. Okay, why ROM? You can read about this in this site I showed you before, and how the ROM looks like. Between your application and DB, you have mapper, relation, adapter, and commands. And adapter is a bridge between you and between your application and the database storage. It can be SQL, it can be Mongo, Redis, CSV, YAML, it's not important. Yeah, the commands is the layer when you create, update, or delete data, and it's follow the Martin Fowler CQRS, querying data separation. And mapper is the most important part. It's the place where you map your structure, not the single data, not the single tuple, but the whole structure. And relation is the place where you hide your database logic behind. Yeah. Nowhere on this application you use the database specific stuff like the where command. You only use the method you define. Okay, maybe some examples. Okay, we have here the ROM with the memory and the adapter, and we have the relations. We can query by name or adults. We have mapper when we have two fields and model. And we have the command to create user. And what we do, we create two users. It's lazy, then you need to call it. And at the end, it's how we use ROM. We have relation, users by name, adults, and we map it, because without that, we will get only the hash from the database. We want to map it for some object. And this works. Maybe check the most important part of this, the mapper part. Okay, we have here the more complex structure. You have hash with the ID and products. This is RI, and we have their address. And we need to map it to something we more understandable. As you can see, on the top we have the not mapped stuff, and below we have the stuff we map. It's very easy in ROM, and it's a really powerful way to use the ROM. And the last one, and here's the way to use a few different mappers. We have the presenter, we have mapper.
Thank you very much. Okay, ready? Almost. The other one, the green one. The green one. Go.
1, 2, okay. Hello everyone. I would like to show you how to crash Ruby. So, who thinks that Ruby 2.x is ready, production ready? Okay. So, what do you need to crash Ruby 2 point something? Yeah, me, developer, and of course the default implementation, MRI. This does not work on other implementations, so shame. I respect for the first example, and as you can see, there is two LEDs with name and place, and names is called place, and place is called name. So this is a recursion, and the simple response I expect is stack trace exception. This is the same as on the presentation. Okay, and core dumped, first crash.
Oops.
Oops. This is issue reported 5 days ago, so watch out. Another issue, and the same Ruby 2, is big num. When we multiply this number by big, we use power function here. We expect the number will be 1 and many zeros. So once again, demo. The same and presentation. No zeros.
Oops.
Same issue reported 4 months ago, so watch out. Next example, hash with default. I think it's this usual thing. We create hash, and when this hash does not contain this key, we try to generate default value. But in this case, we try once again refer to the same hash. So once again, recursion. Bang. Core dumped once again.
Oops.
Same issue reported 4 months ago, so watch out. Okay, name parameter. When you use name parameter and execute method with string instead of symbol, you will get code dumped. This issue is reported 2 months ago, so watch out. But keep calm and watch out. upgrade your Ruby, and who thinks that Ruby 2.x is ready for production? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, hello. So, well, I don't care that you don't like this slide and you don't care because it's nice. Yeah. How many of you uses React on a daily basis? Not much. Okay. How many of you heard about React Hot Loader? Well, yeah, there is React Hot Loader, and it's really cool because it allows you to like hot swap your JavaScript without losing your application state. Yeah, and it's really cool. Yeah, let's see how it works. Yeah. Well, maybe this microphone could go wrong. Shit. Easy, easy.
Take your time. No hurry.
There you go. All right, so I have some React coffee template, which is really, really nice thing. Yeah, and I will just run the watch. It's alive. Yeah, so here's my React application. There's some component. And if I change it, and hit save, then yeah, it reloads without like reloading. Yeah, so I will try to add some component.
No pressure. What about TDD? Or at least test first? No?
Yeah, it
Yay.
works. I didn't refresh anything. That's cool. Yep. So that's how it works. And there is one more thing about that. There is a possible production use. So if you have an application, and it's like kind of offline application, so you can stay there without internet connection for a long time and do your stuff. For example, we update the production code on the backend, and in the normal case, you have to like refresh this application to make it working again, because, for example, you changed your API, and with this one, you can like hot swap your JavaScript code and don't have users to refresh your application. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. That was good timing.
So I just have 5 minutes to try to destroy all your thinking about software estimation. What's the problem? The problem about software estimation is because people are asking us to estimate software, and sometimes we guess it right. That's the problem. It happens because maybe we have some work which is just you have to change this thing in this page, and you did 1 page, and you have 20 pages, so you do the math. And they love these type of things because they fit into an Excel. And of course, they use Excel only for doing normally multiplication and division, no more than this. But that's another story. Everything changes if you get into a different scenario, like you're not doing something so easy and repeatable, but you're getting into legacy code. And when you get into legacy code, what do you estimate? How much time will it be needed to remove somebody else's crap? Yeah, that's a kind of different type of question. And the thing is, you're just trying to walk across a minefield, and they are asking you an estimation. And of course, please give me the email address of the person that left the minefield. Or let's hope that the person let every single mine, 1, choose, 3 steps, boom, 1, choose, 3 steps, boom, in a recurring pattern. No, you don't estimate this. You just send the people and count how many developers die, try to work on the legacy code. That's the estimation you can do. Yeah, maybe 50%. There's only a couple of mines somewhere. No, you don't know it, and even worse, you're too guilty to admit how many mines you left somewhere, so you don't want to list in the number. There's another problem here. It's not only exploring crap that we left around. It's just we have a wrong model about software development. It's not about building things or cleaning up stuff. It's a learning process. And working code is just a side effect, proving that we did it right. Oh, shit, never thought about it. And this is pretty good on one side because it finally reveals that our constraint is a learning process, and we don't know that much about learning. So my suggestion is please have a look at this book. It's really great entry point into this topic. But then, yeah, we spend all of the time optimizing the coding and the shortcuts and the building part of the thing, so we are not making the learning faster. The problem with learning is just it's totally not linear. It just cannot tell when this will happen. It's not going to fill into a spreadsheet. And how much time is needed for you to read this book? Oh, 200 pages, 10 pages per day, 20 days. How much time is needed for you to understand the book? Oh, different question. Oh, you have to learn it by tomorrow. Read, learn, you bastard. It doesn't work like this. You don't learn under pressure. So the more pressure, you can only prevent people from learning. Oh, that's how I did the university, by the way. And so can you estimate learning? No, you can't. End of the story. You can just do your best. If you want something more scientific, I can guarantee people won't be learning if you put pressure, which is, yeah, enterprise software development, that's the way it goes. There's another little problem, which is it's not only learning, and just my model before was different. We talked about before something like clean, and the larger the development team, the larger the organization, we discovered that the coding is not a big part, but there's a lot of things that happens behind the scene, which is waiting, doing nothing, waiting for somebody else to do stuff for us, and try to do something in the meanwhile while we're waiting for a production, for the password for the production database and the firewall and stuff like this. So that's my cocktail. What do? Some coding, some learning, some deciding, and some waiting. Oh, can you estimate waiting? Again, you can look at it in lean technique, value stream mapping, talking about the people, but it's not really the best way. Normally, organizations wouldn't like to admit how much you've been waiting. Fourth ingredient is something even more nasty, which is deciding. And, well, how many decisions are we doing in our development team? Well, we do decision continuously, which is how do we call this class, which framework am I going to use, which language am I going to use, how should I call this attribute, should I use this pattern or the other one? Well, bad news, we are really bad at it. we are bad in doing decision as individuals, and we're really, really worse doing decision. Oh, shit.
What did you say about estimating? Thank you. I didn't cheat.
How many do you have?
5 minutes. Yeah, use the green one.
1, 2.
Ready?
Okay,
Are you really ready?
Yes.
But is it about PHP?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
PHP. The new Rails.
Okay. Okay, so if you ever worked with PHP, you know that there is a game named Active Admin. And how many of you worked with Active Admin? And raise your hand, the ones who enjoyed the customization process. Not many. And I have a good news for you. There is a new library which tries to solve this problem. And it's something between Active Admin and Plain Controller. It's a set of small components which can compose an active panel. So features, it's fully customizable. You can throw it away when you are bored with it. Encourages modularity and testability. Easy to start with because it comes with a generator, which creates a basic controller for you. Okay, so if you like it, visit Ditomasta admin bits and try on your own. And another project I wanted to share with you, which is very exciting to me, is CodeQuack. CodeQuack is a platform for learning new technologies, new IT technologies. It's a Polish response to Code Academy and Code School. So yeah, it's interactive. You don't have to install anything. Everything happens inside the browser. That's how the main page looks now. The project is not open yet, and it's available in Polish, so it's a big advantage for learning who don't know English really well. We'll start with the basic of programming and SQL. And we start on April 15th. More languages and technology to come. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. So enjoy, 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 and visit, visit the fan page. Thank you.
Thank you very much.